Our next speaker will not let you down either. It is Anni Pätilä, a Helsinki-based project manager specializing in digital design and communications. Her work centers around the strategic use of social media to drive youth engagement and create safer online environments, particularly through the award-winning initiative Sua Varten Somessa. Anni has been integral in translating complex social issues into impactful digital campaigns, making Sua Varten Somessa an influential voice in promoting safe online environments for Finnish youth. In 2022, their educational videos garnered over 3 million views, underscoring the success and reach of their work. She is here today to hold the speech We Need You Online, the perspectives of Finnish youth. Without further ado, Anni.
Thank you so much, Tortis, and thank you for the warm welcome on stage. I'm just going to have my notes here in case I lose the plot. So as mentioned, I'm Anni Pätilä from Sua Varten Somessa for you on social media. It's a digital youth work initiative from Finland. And the headline of my presentation today, I don't think I've been harassed really, but men have sent me dick pics since I was 9 years old. It's an actual quote from a girl, from a client of ours that we've worked with, and it has stuck with me for years. The fact is, she said it in such a matter-of-fact way, sort of not out of desperation, just sort of having given up on internet. And I think that's why the quote really stuck with me. And she continued the sentence to say, I wish there would have been adults when I was younger, that 9 years of age, who would have understood me, who would have helped me, like you could have if you had been there, 9 years ago. And I think this somehow culminates the omnipresence of online sexual abuse that our children and youth face each day. They've accepted it as part of their everyday lives on digital platforms. So actually one thing I would like you to take from this presentation is not the grime reality of our digital lives, it's actually that our kids and youth are relying on us, adults. We've made these digital platforms, we can change them. So let's not give up on our kids. As mentioned, here are my contact details. I would love to continue the conversation, but to skip ahead, actually, I'd like to ask one question from the audience here. How many of you know how many hours you spend online, on your phone, each day? Have you ever looked at your digital well-being tools? Some hands here in the auditorium. The average high school student, according to a recent study, spends a staggering 5.8 hours online every day on their phone. And I think I cannot stress enough the omnipresent and near omnipotent presence of social media and digital tools in the lives of our youth and children. I think one part of it is that in Finland, the smartphone acquisition age is between 7 to 8 years. I believe in Europe, it's more Central Europe, Southern Europe, it's between 11, 12, 13 years of age. Nonetheless, this means our kids spend a ton of time online. And a lot of it is good, right? They express themselves online, they share their hobbies online. In my work, I see all these beautiful aspects of the online world as well. I think especially important it is for kids who so-called don't fit the norm of their local community, who might struggle with loneliness. They can find friendships online. They can continue conversations that they might not otherwise have. They might be able to forge alliances with which they survive those brutal teenage years. But as you can imagine, with this much time online, our kids also face a tsunami of abuse, because these platforms were not made with kids' rights and safety in mind. 40% of Finnish girls between the ages of 14 and 15 they've already faced sexual harassment online. 6 out of 10 kids have been approached by an adult online. And half of kids have been cyberbullied. 80% of kids say they've at least seen someone else being cyberbullied. And really what breaks my heart is that I know as a fact and from my own work that so many of these kids share this with no one. And if they do, it might be a friend, another 10-year-old. And this means so many of these crimes, because sexual harassment of a minor, obviously it's a sexual offense. These crimes go unpunished, undetected, and these children are left to their own devices to deal with the situation. Just a few slides, statistics on platforms. We conduct a survey with my work every year, and in 2023, 1,500 kids responded. We asked them if they've faced sexual harassment online, and 40% of them said yes. And when we asked which platform, a lot of them mentioned Snapchat. And the youngest one to report sexual harassment, by the way, was 9 years old. And when we asked about cyberbullying, about half of them said yes, and TikTok took the cake there. I believe this is in part to do with the fast-paced algorithm that sort of feeds on emotions and quick reactions on TikTok. So out of this rather maybe grim reality, I present to you our Digital Youth Work Initiative. We were born 4 years ago out of will to bring youth workers, safe adults online. And our promise is to be your digital big sibling. So the idea we present to kids, to the youth, is not to completely ban social media, to tell the kids, like, I used to play in the forest, so thus you have to do that too, you know? I bar you from entering the online spaces ever again. We are actually challenging the notion that being bullied and sexually abused is just a price you have to pay for operating online, because that's actually something we hear quite often. Like, if you just stopped going online, you would not get bullied. But what if we actually made these social environments safe for our kids? We have 4 aspects to our work. We offer personal support via direct messages on social media platforms. So our idea is to bring safe adults to the same platforms where the kids already are, where they're operating. We intervene when we see cyberbullying on TikTok mainly, and kids tag us a lot, so that means they're inviting us to take part in the conversations, intervene on behalf of their friend who's probably being bullied. We also post a lot of educational content, as Turtis kindly mentioned, which gets taken down quite a lot. Thank you, TikTok and Meta, if you're already listening. And we also host workshops on digital safety skills to educators, parents, other youth workers. I'm going to skip this slide for brevity's sake, but I wanted to address one more question, because one question I get asked a lot when we got started with this project was, so you guys are going to go online? You're going to intervene in kids' lives? Like, don't they find that embarrassing? And we wanted to actually know, so we keep asking. We conduct a survey annually, every year, and as I mentioned, 1,500 kids responded last time, and 99% of those 1,500 kids said it's useful to have a digital youth project such as our Sua Varten Somessa online. And 8 out of 10 said, I feel safer because of the work you do. Also, what I find awesome is that 94% said, I have more skills to protect myself online because of you. And another aspect I'd like you to take with you today is that I sometimes think we as adults, when we discuss digital violence, we kind of get into this quagmire of despair. We feel like, oh my gosh, there's nothing we can do. It's bad and it will be bad or maybe worse. And my message is the kids don't think so. 8 out of 10 think there's a lot we can do to actually solve this epidemic of online violence. We're going to talk about solutions later today, so I'm not going to go deeper into those right now. But when we asked, we asked this question last year in November, and out of 1,500 respondents, 800 kids between 8 and 20 years of age took the time to answer. Some of them wrote long texts describing how they would change digital platforms, how they would change the culture online, how they would rid away with anonymous commenting, how they would generate automatic censoring of bad words and slurs on TikTok. There are so many solutions our kids can think of. So I think as adults, we could, draw some inspiration from that. And only 2% of those respondents said they don't believe there's anything we can do to eradicate online abuse or bullying. So, to conclude my presentation, I'm going to leave you with a quote from a girl we worked with. She said, "You helped me realize it is not my fault that a grown man manipulated me to send images to him when I was 13. Thank you. It still hurts, but not so much anymore." And I believe that's such a hopeful and kind message that she chose to write on one of our videos as a public comment, also as an encouragement to others, other kids who might see it and maybe draw some hope from that. So please, let's keep the good fight going and the conversation flowing. Thank you very much.